showing the inconsistency in your methodology. You have an inconsistent methodology without realizing it. So now I notice that you're moving back from the idea of fitting the curses to, well, their ancestors. Prove to me that the ancestors of African Americans as a people group are the Israelites. What's your evidence of that?
Go to Numbers 25:7.
Okay, 25:7, and it says, "Oh, I know your argument for
If you go to, yeah,
Phinehas.
yeah, I know you
I
know.
know this. Yeah, so we did a live stream debunking this. It's
Actually,
purely
we should
absurd.
probably get into this whole Phinehas thing and explain
Yeah,
it really quickly, because I
yeah,
know we're being a bit playful, but on a serious note,
yeah,
I
yeah,
can
yeah. Let's
attempt to
actually get
explain.
into it. Yeah, if you could. Yeah, here. Let me.
All right.
Hopefully, you can see that. Is that too?
Yes, yes. So these are the to explain it, a number of scholars, not all scholars, but a number of scholars believe that the Hebrew name, what's popularly said Phineas, and now it's and as per the Masoretic pointing, it's pronounced Pinchas. But those are the hieroglyphs of an Egyptian name or an Egyptian term that a number of scholars believe the biblical Hebrew name Phineas or Pinchas comes from, right? And to explain it, I underline different portions. The first hieroglyph is for a definite article. The what's underlined in red, the three hieroglyphs in red are refer to Nubia, and then the last hieroglyph is like an adjectival suffix, or they call it a nispa suffix, which implying like ancestry from what precedes it. So ancestry from Nubia. So it basically means the Nubian. And so a number of serious scholars have proposed that this is the Egyptian term behind the biblical Hebrew name Pinchas or Phineas.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but we should look at a couple of the dictionary entries to explain this, because people will get
Yes.
online and they'll go to Blue Letter Bible and they'll find that term, right? The term that
Yeah.
we've steered clear of
Yeah. Yeah.
saying,
Right.
which you have here, right? So,
Yeah.
right, and what happens there is like people will look it up on Blue Letter Bible and they'll see like the Brown Driver Briggs entry, right, where it uses that phrase, and that's actually from Edward Robinson's translation of Gesenius, which you see at the bottom of your screen. At the bottom of your screen is Edward Robinson's English translation of Gesenius. However, in Gesenius's work, which is at the top of your screen, he used the German equivalent of that term. Now I can't say it; it's underlined there in red. I
What? I
can't say
know.
the term because
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm not going to
Controversial.
repeat it because it's too close to a very nasty English slur, and YouTube might misunderstand it and negatively impact Faithful's channel and the algorithm. Nonetheless, you see the term underlined, and basically, certain folks are leaping from the English translation of a less than literal German translation of this Egyptian term, and they're leaping from that to the conclusion that the term must be like some sort of simple skin tone reference, right? Uh, by the way, really quickly, it's interesting that Gesenius, when you look at Gesenius's, again, that's the entry at the top. Gesenius' entry actually begins his entry by supporting the view that the name is actually Hebrew and from the Hebrew for brass mouth, right? And that he even likens it to the Greek Christosomos, which means gold mouth, right? Golden mouth, and that's where you see that Greek text, and then it says goldmund, right? So the primary definition given by Gesenius is that it means brass mouth, similar to how Christosomos means golden mouth. But then it's only after that that he suggests, and it says aber vielleicht besser mit Lauth. Maybe it's better to side with Lauth's view, and then he gives the Egyptian description. So even Gesenius approached this view tentatively, like it's not a foregone conclusion, and it
Mm-hmm.
was not the first example he gave. But whatever the case, right, noting that the term literally means the Nubian, right, which refers to an actual people, not just anyone who, certain Americans might consider, quote unquote, having the morphology that Americans call black or something like that, right? The Nubians were a specific people within that diverse morphological spectrum, right? So
Right.
now I would take it for granted that the good doctor doesn't think that the Bible was saying that Aaron's paternal grandson, Phineas, descended from literal Nubians. I really doubt that, right?
Right.
But if he was to say, or if other people who try to run with this try to say that the term was intended, less literally, then, honestly, I think at that point the whole thing kind of breaks down because, first of all, today there are many Ashkenazim with the name Pinchas, right? And you can just put that into Facebook, Pinchas Katz, Pinchas Goldstein, Pinchas Schwartz, whatever. And, just like Ashkenazim who have the surname Schwartz, which literally means black in Yiddish, Ashkenazim with the name Pinchas right? They're not limited to a single morphology, right? The name, neither the surname, the point of that analogy is that neither the surname Schwartz nor the first name Pinchas limits Ashkenazim to like a particular outward appearance, right? And just as like a modern Ashkenazi named Pinchas might be named after an earlier person with that name, like their father's brother or their father's friend or something like that, so too, this is the point, early Israelites with that name might have been named by someone before them, right? Like a friend who was back in Egypt who might have had that name or been known by that term, right? And we can come up with other analogies like the biblical name Laban, right? Laban or Laban, as people say.
Which
Laban,
literally means white.
it
In
literally means white, right? But that doesn't mean that Laban had a skin tone like what Americans consider "quote unquote" right, white. These references don't necessarily put limitations on people's outward appearance. It's a bad argument whether you apply it to Laban or the Yiddish surname Schwartz or the name Pinchas/Phinehas, right?
Right.
And
I just wanted to play that. I could play some more, but yeah, this is why I sincerely think this is a terrible argument. It's like looking at the guy with the surname Black, like Joe Black, the comedian, and assuming, oh, he must be a black man because his surname is Black. Your argument with the negro, that word is the word for black in Spanish and Portuguese. So your argument was trying to make dude black. So you were trying to argue for a phenotype, a morphology. So what I'm doing is I'm showing that the same bad argument can be used against you if we just say, well, someone over here was called black and my people are called black. Therefore, we're the same people. So Hamites were called black, like Cushites. Your people are called black. Therefore, your people are Cushites.
How would you
The
deal with?
argument
Go ahead.
No, but before you talk about what I would deal with, I need you to deal with that. Do you understand that it's based on the same flawed reasoning that you're using? Or how about this? You wanted to use the one that's called Phinehas in English, Pinchas. So because a certain dictionary identifies him with negro. The problem is that we can use that same argument for Laban, just as the brother pointed out. Laban was Jacob's uncle. Laban literally means white in Hebrew. Should we assume that he was a white man because his name was Laban? And the
No,
dictionary literally identifies that as white?
no, but that's not it. Like it's not the same as if I say the any grow versus just
Yeah, but
saying
the problem is
any
that
grow.
in the same dictionary entry, it gives the definition of gold mouth, brass mouth.
Do
That's
we
literally in the lexicon entry.
right? Do we agree that that's the lineage of the high priest?
We agree that Pinchas or Phinehas was
Is that
literally, yeah, not listen closely. So I don't know if you're paying attention. You're not, doesn't seem that you're attentive. You're a little quick to speak and slow to listen. I need you to be
no?
slow
You
to
just
speak and
talk a
quick to
lot.
listen. Yeah, here, I'm going to talk a little bit more now. So you're going to be able to listen to me from the back while I talk a little bit more. The argument that you're making, you're saying that's the lineage of the priest, right? That was your argument, right? Now watch how I cut you on this, because the entry says gold mouth. That's the first thing that's listed. Then it mentions someone else who listed that term that you use. So we're not left having to go with the term that you favor. But watch how I cut you. Barnabas was a Levite, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's use your own logic against you. Barnabas was a Levite, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's go to Acts 13, and we're going to look at verse 1. Now there were in the church at Antioch prophets and teachers, Barnabas, Simeon, who was called what? That word, right?
Mm-hmm.
Lucius of Cyrene, Manan, a lifelong friend of Herod the Tetrarch, and Saul. So I have a question. Is this word in the plural or is this in the singular construction in the Greek? That word right here, this word right here, this word. Is that in the plural or the singular in the Greek?
You'd have to tell me.
I'm asking you.
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. You have to tell me.
Okay, that word is in the singular, so only one person is being identified with that term, and that's Simeon. That means Barnabas is not being identified with that term. That's a cut, because it shows you that the term that was used for black was not being applied to Barnabas. or Lucius. It also was not being identified to Saul. That's a problem for you because you believe all these men are Israelites, right?
Whoa, I don't agree with that interpretation. That word is being applied to the prophets and the teachers.
No, it isn't. It's in the singular construction. Here, let me show you in the Greek because I can tell you haven't looked at the Greek in that passage. So this is the Greek of Acts 13:1.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I asked you. And now you said it's being applied to all of them. And you're speaking as if you know Greek when you don't know Greek. Now, notice that these are the words in the Greek right here. On the left-hand side, this is the
Mm-hmm.
English of the translation, right? Of the
Mm-hmm.
Greek. Now, notice it says Antioch, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, the word prophetai is in the plural construction. Do you see where it says NNMP? That's noun, nominative, masculine, plural, or nominative, masculine, plural.
Mm-hmm.
Now it says prophetai kai, and notice it says teachers. This is also in the plural construction. Ote Barnabas, right? Barnabas is in the singular. Kai Simeon. So notice Simeon is in the nominative, masculine, singular.
Mm-hmm.
O, the word that means who, that's in the singular. Notice right here where it says ART-NMS. That's the definite article in the nominative masculine singular. And Kalomenos, who is called, this is also in the singular. So I don't know if you can see where I'm highlighting where it says verb, present participle, middle or passive, nominative masculine singular, and now the relevant word. This is in the nominative masculine singular. Only one person is being identified, and that's Simeon. If it were all of them, it would be in the plural construction, but it's in the singular construction because only one person is being identified. And the reason we know this is precisely why, if you look at Strong's, it'll say of Latin origin, a Christian, not Christians, plural. Because the relevant word is only being used one time for this person right here, Simeon. It's a cut.
Is Simeon a prophet or a teacher?
Yes, but is he a Levite?
If he's a prophet or a teacher, he's an Israelite.
No, I didn't ask if he's an Israelite. I asked, is he a Levite?
It doesn't matter if he's an Israelite.
Okay, listen closely because you don't seem to follow your own argument. Your argument was the Levites are called by that word because you have Phinehas, who is literally referred to in that dictionary entry, the lexicon entry, in the second entry, not even the first. The very first entry was Goldmouth for the same name. But then the other entry that gives right after is the word that you were referring to. So then what I asked you is, oh, so, you're trying to make an argument for the Levites. So I asked you, Barnabas, who is a Levite. You agree that Barnabas is a Levite, right?
I'm making an argument for the
I
Jews,
asked you a question.
not just the Levites.
Barnabas is a Levite, correct?
Mm-hmm. A Jew.
I didn't ask if he was just merely a Jew. Is he specifically of the tribe of Levi?
Correct.
Okay, so Barnabas is not being called by this word here, which is the word for black. So you just cut yourself.
We're talking
because
about
your argument was that the Levites as a whole were referred to with Negro. I'm showing you that your argument falls apart when we actually look here at a Levite who is not being called the word here, Niger, which is related to the word Negro. You just cut yourself.
No, Phinehas is a Levite. I didn't say the Levites.
But you tried to make an argument for the Levites, and I know that this
I'm
room
making an
is
argument for the Jews.
You just walk back your argument. This is what most Hebrew Israelites do. Your argument was that the Levites are all Negro. So what I did is cut you by going to a passage that a lot of you like to misuse, showing you that the word is only used for one person there, and that's Simeon. And
Is
showing
Simeon
you
an
it's not
Israelite?
used for Barnabas. Yeah, well, I don't know if he's an Israelite. We know he's a Jew. He could have been a
That's an
convert
Israelite.
for all we know. No. You think all the Jews are Israelites?
Are
Watch how I
you
cut you on
trying
that
to
too.
say? Are you
Are you
saying
about
that?
to cut yourself, man? You want me to cut you on this? Here, let's go right here. Here, I'm gonna cut you live on air, and I'm gonna make you a highlight reel. You're about to become my highlight reel. And
I
after
don't
certain
understand what we're
days,
arguing
when
then.
Felix came with his wife Drusilla, which was a Jewess. What tribe is Drusilla from? She's being called a female Jew. What tribe is she from?
If she's a Jew, then she's of any one of the 3 tribes of the Southern Kingdom.
You just cut yourself. Here, let's
How?
actually go to the, I'm going to show you. Let's go to the Greek there. You see the name right here? Here. You see the name Drusilla?
Mm-hmm.
Drusilla, feminine diminutive of Drusus, a Roman name. What does it say? Read that loud and clear for the audience.
A member of the Herodian family.
Who are the Herodians?
Edomites.
So she's an Edomite and she's being called Jewish. You just cut
Oh
yourself.
my God. She's a Jewish convert. I said
She is
if she was
bro,
a Jew,
you
I
realize how you
said,
just cut your, here, let me show the audience. I want the audience to see how this guy just cut himself. Did he not say, oh, if she's being called a Jew, she must be one of the southern tribes? You heard that, right, Brother Willie? You were able to hear that, correct? Were all of you able to hear that? Type a 1 in the chat if you were able to hear that. This man just said, oh, if she's a Jew, if she's being called a Jew, she's got to be one of the southern tribes. And what did I do? I said, you just cut yourself. Showed him the entry. He read it. And then he turned around and goes, oh, she's a convert.
Yeah, I heard him.
So this dude right here just cut himself because he doesn't know how to argue properly. This is how Hebrew Israelites argue illogically. They'll make one argument. Yeah, y'all see that? Look at this. Bro, you just made yourself look bad. Congratulations. You made the highlight reel. Thank you. Here, let's do an applause for you. Here. Congratulations for making the highlight reel. Now everybody is going to see how Hebrew Israelites argue illogically.